Hey, hey, ho, ho. Okie dokie. How's everyone doing? We all going well? Yeah. Let's go through, guys. This is a Q and A. So, you guys got the Q's, I got the A's. Let's do it. Well, I mean, shit, you guys are shy.
I mean, yeah, I got a question to be fair. How are you doing anyway? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Got no complaints.
Yeah, nice,
Let's get
nice,
up with it.
bro.
Come on.
So yeah, so now when it comes to, um, so me, I sell in the face to face now home improvement field, um, and I feel like one of the biggest issues that I face now mainly is that I often get a lot of price objections just because the sort of people that I sell to, they just sort of compare like prices now. So I would say the only good thing that we have is that we are the best home improvement company in the UK anyway. So pretty much selling them on the actual product and the value on the company is good. However, now the only issue that they usually have now is that they feel like they can get windows now somewhere else for cheaper, which is the case because let's like say doing a full house of windows cost about 6K. We come in at least 12.
Yeah, are you better?
Yeah, we are better in terms of products, in terms of a well-known company.
Okay.
However,
So I'll give
and
you I'll give you a bit of an example, right? Because so I remember I was buying like years ago I was getting a new garage door for my house, right? And I got 3 quotes, right? And I went with the most expensive guy. It wasn't because I'm like balling out of control and like it was like, yeah. It's just he had what I considered to be the most professional. He was the most professional out of everyone by a country mile, and he also had a back end service, which was like an automatic maintenance, where it was like really simple and easy, where they came in every 6 months, right? Did maintenance on it, and it was like a regular continuity thing. So it was a really good business model. But he was like really professional the way that he came in. His quoting was accurate. He like assessed the problem and the needs that I had. It's just a garage door, mate. But there's different types of garage doors, there's different types of windows, and it's about value is simply like people are like you have to kind of get it out of your head that people are going to be basically purely on price, right? So the moment you start thinking that, then you'll start going like, and you will make a series of assumptions on people that like hinder your sales dramatically. What you have to focus on is establishing the most amount of value. The way that you do that is by listening to people and they feel like their problems are being understood, right? Like that is the way to combat it because you can't make your company cheaper, nor should you. So what you have to do is establish value. The way that you do that is understand their problems and then you link your solution to their problems. If the standards guys come and go, yeah, man, we're going to do this many windows, they're going to look great, they're going to be like, this is going to cost this much money. But if your pitch is like, hey, based off what you said, this is the windows that I recommend. Remember how you said this? Well, the reason why I'm recommending this is that, right? And because what I want you to do is prevent this long term because I know that this and this and this is like likely to happen as it comes into winter. Okay, the UK gets cold. We're going to prevent some unnecessary heating bills, right? By having your like triple glazed windows, and you actually present things in a way that solves their problems, and then you present
okay,
the right solution for them, not just the one that kind of makes sense or fits within like their budget. And that's
okay,
because like I've gone into I've sold things for 7,000 where the retail price was 1,500. It's not because I was being a douchebag. It's because like I thought it was so undervalued because it was such a good product, and I was like, oh, I reckon I can sell this for way more. And then
mhm,
just sold it, and it was like people will buy whatever, and the value of something like you have to look at a Louis Vuitton bag. Does it cost much more to make a Louis Vuitton bag than what it does to make a Michael Kors bag? Not really, you know.
of course,
And so
yeah,
they buy because there's a perceived value attached to it, and so your job is to how do you invoke that, and the way you do it is like by extreme professionalism, going there like and creating the theater that's required in order to like demand the value. Does that make sense?
Nah, it does. It does. So I would like say in like my sort of scenarios now. So like let's like say you now want a door installed in your house now, and now the biggest reason why you just want the door installed in your house now is just because of the way it looks. Let's just like say there's no real problem with the door itself now. You just want a new door
Well,
because
there is,
the door
but
itself
there's
is
also
old.
problems that I don't know about. Like, is it a front door or is it an interior door? Do I need
Like a front door.
Okay, so is it going to be solid? Is it going to be all weather? Is it going to swell in the wintertime? Is my wife going to be able to open it when it swells? So do we need to go with more of a hardwood that doesn't swell so that we don't then have to get a chippy in to come in and shave it down, right? And then all of a sudden we've got a draft in the summer and we've got it fucking so tight in the winter we can't even open it and close it. Does that make sense? Like there are problems associated with things that people don't know, and it's up to you as a salesperson to understand those problems that they may or may not even know about, and then ask the questions to get the answers so that you can go, okay, well, we have a couple of options based off what you've said and based off where you are. Also, what direction does your house face? In Australia, if your house faces north, like you're getting an awful lot of direct sunlight, right?
Mhm.
So like, that will change how the wood weathers and how it weathers. And so like, there are a lot of variables there. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
completely understand that.
Yeah.
But what it's like it just seems in like my scenario now. So for example, I'm not sure how much doors cost where you are, but like here now you're able to buy a door now for
Yeah. So
let me
I'm
say
gonna stop you, mate, because what you're doing is you're wanting me to tell you that it's okay, man. It's just people buy on price, right? Like there's I sell my dialer is like 3 times the cost of most. I sell the fuck,
yeah.
right? Do you know what I mean? And so like I'm telling you that the answer is you need to like get out of the headspace that price matters. And
Okay.
like be hyper confident. I have a guy on my committed coaches team. Everyone's like, "Oh, the leads are fucking shit." You know what I mean? And they're broke. And meanwhile, this guy comes in and he's selling everyone at like $600, right? Shit. And then I have a goal setting session with him, and I go, "Man, what the fuck are you doing? Like, how are you gonna make any money?" And he goes, "Oh," and then he's like, "Oh, I need to sell them for 2,000." Then just start selling everyone at 2,000. Then he realized he needed to sell at 3,400 on average to make the money he wanted to make. He then shifted his pitch to 3,400. Obviously, it's a different, like deliverables. He only pitches that. His close rate is higher. It's the exact same leads. His close rate is higher at 3,400. It's Godwin. Yeah, he's a fucking savage, right? He's gonna make 35 grand in comms this month doing outbound selling fucking supplements to like 70-year-olds, right? He's just fucking savage. And it's the exact same leads, exact same dude. Like he just put together a $3,400 bundle and he's selling it at a higher rate because he's more convicted and like that's what he needs to sell to hit his goals, and he thinks it's a better package. And it's the same everything. So what I'm saying is like, mate, just like if you are trepidatious in what you sell, nobody will want to give you money. Right? You need to be hyper convicted and be like, yeah, you can go the cheap option, but it's your house, it's your front door, it's the barrier between you and the rest of the world. If you want to do that, mate, and you want to get the cheapest one possible, fucking by all means. But for me, if I could put a goddamn steel vault in the front of my house, you better believe I'm doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I got to move on though, but I hope that helps. All right,
It does.
go
Cheers.
with Big Shay.
Yes, Matt. Hope you're doing well, man. By the way, Tyler's been doing a great job on one of the accounts I'm managing.
Oh,
highest pickup rate ever.
Which one's
that? That's HCOs. So that's halal CEOs.
Halal CEOs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
No fucking assalamu
So, yeah.
alaikum to you, my friend.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you, brother. I was gonna say, the other thing is I'm gonna start managing a trading account where we have over 30K buyer leads just sitting there. So I was gonna ask you, what do you think is the best approach? We could either go down the route of sorry?
Email
to booking a call, or do you think just outbound closing?
Email to hand raise to outbound. But you need a good copywriter. And you need to do segmented testing. Don't you dare just send 30,000 fucking emails all at once. You need to do a test of like doses of like, say, 250, 300 people. You do different, you do like different headlines. You do a subject, and then you have like your, you have your headline, and then you have your copy, and then you have your CTA, right? So obviously the open rate is going to be dictated by the subject. Okay. You know what I mean? And then you've got like how many people read the email and then click onto the thing, and then how many people like kind of raise their hand or whatever, right? Or like do the action. So you've got to do small, tested, segmented emails. Okay. And then from there you find the winner, and then you blast it. Okay. Right now, you probably also would want to consult someone who knows a little bit about email, because like 30,000 is a big enough dose to where you could fuck your domain if you do it badly. But if they're all buyers, is the list being emailed at all?
No. Terrible email marketing. Terrible.
Yeah.
Funnel.
So like there's some trickiness to that. Like you might want to look at someone who really knows what they're doing, right? Who can help you out with that, because like you can burn domains. Email and phone number are really similar, and where like if you just start fucking blasting out emails, like in your open rate is shit and you have a high bounce rate, like your whole domain gets flagged, and then you can't even fucking get an email for like a reminder to come to a call to go through.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You set up like a different domain, put them over, do some tests,
filter it there,
and try and come out. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, man.
But I wouldn't just call 30,000 people. It's just a monumental effort, and like the amount of shit you're gonna get back is gonna be fuck all. So I would do email.
Perfect.
Sweet as. All right, who's next? No one.
Hey, Matt, I had a question about fear objection handling. Does it matter like which order you do the reframes in? Because I've seen a couple of videos where you say to like railroad into island, and then I've seen a couple where it's like you do the perspective first. Does it matter, or does it just matter that you have like 3 or 4 that you go to, so then you just sort of cycle through them?
Yeah, so the easiest way is to use like a perspective type reframe first, because like it's just it's fucking borderline logic trap, right? So like, but you have to have gone through like your logistical. So if someone's like money, deal with money, time, partner, whatever, and then if you've gone through that and there's no kind of like logical reason to not move forward, then the easiest one is like, well, okay, well, based off where you are, it kind of makes sense that you're thinking that, because we all make decisions based off our current perspective. Do you agree?
Yeah.
And they go, yes.
Yeah.
And you're fucking like, now you're on my train. And then from there, it's like the only problem is if we continue to make decisions in that manner and with that perspective, it's the only place that we can ever be. Right. And so like, let me give you an example. And then the island analogy, like it's good, but it's hard to pull off. You know what I mean? Like I used to do it. I probably wouldn't do it anymore. It's still good. Like it works. Don't get me wrong. It fucking works. Like it's a very visual, like it puts somebody, makes them very introspective. But if you're not good at pulling it off, like if you can't pause at the right places and use the right tones and stuff like that to make some, and use the difficulty with that one is that you have to use the correct first and third party, right? Like you have to be able to interchange that at the right times, because if you want someone to become introspective and have a more associative feeling, they have to be in the first person. So that means looking through their own eyes, not looking at themselves like a video game. So you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's difficult, but there are some easier ones. There are some easier, more logic trappy ones, which is like, like, let me ask you a question. Are you happy with where you're at right now? And if they go, well, if they say yes, then you can argue with that and go, well, really? And then you can go like scale of 1 to 10, and then you can get them back down because like they're not close to their goal. You know what I mean? And then it's like, well, so are you happy where you're at? No, I'm not. Why is that? Well, this, and this. Okay. In the decision-making process, I really try and avoid the term mindset. Mindset is a very triggering word, right? So it's like, so the decision-making process has got you to be where you are, and that's causing you to feel the exact way that you are right now and have these feelings of hesitation and like, because we know the money works. We know that the program works. We know that you've said this is the best move for you. How much longer do you want to allow that decision-making process to dictate your life and your results moving forward? And then you make them agree on a time frame. So it's like, do you want to allow it to affect you for 2 more months? 2 more weeks? 2 more days? Like how long? Well, not much longer. Yeah, but how much longer? Well, I don't really want it to. Well, why not? Okay, so what do you need to do to put yourself in a position to where you can actually start moving forward? So like you see how like that kind of, like it's quite an easy You know, like once they agree to that paradigm, it's really difficult to sort of get out of logically. You know, so use with caution, I would say.
Yeah.
You know,
if they still went,
people have taught that, but I made that shit up. It's one of the only things that I'll say. I made that up. I scripted that shit myself.
if they still went like, yeah, but I just still need to think about it, would you then go to an analogy from there, or?
So I mean, you're like, yes, okay, but like you need to. So then you want to remove the decision to transact, and you want to like so. If someone's like kind of on the fence and scared, right? Like it's the transaction that is the scary bit. So what you're looking to do is move them forward in like small periodic chunks of like low commitment, you know? So it's like, you know, from a hug to a kiss, from what I mean? You're moving the ball forward until you're fucking, you know, tied up and you can't speak, right? So, you know, but it's a series of kind of escalating events, you know what I mean? And so, you know, these days I think it probably happens a bit faster. But so you know, you're looking at like, okay, man, like that makes sense. And you know, you don't have to purchase, but you know, what do you need to do to put yourself in a position to where you're actually moving the ball forward and moving towards your goal? Well, I need this. Okay. And how much longer do you want to put off getting that? Well, not much longer. Okay, why not? All right. And so it's not about you buying today, but it's about you committing to do the things that put you in a position to be able to win. Because, dude, there's no guarantees. You could do this and it could flop. You could do this and, you know, it could work out great. You know what I mean? But if you do nothing, the only thing I can guarantee is that you'll be in the exact same position of where you're at. Right? So, like, what do you need to do?
Yeah.
And then you just keep coming back to that and you remove that barrier of like, let's not commit to transact. Let's commit to commit. Once we commit to commit, then we can commit to a next step, which might be like, well, you know, I really need to get some help with XYZ. Okay, so now that we know that, do you commit to getting help? Yes. Okay, when? Then it's like, well, what's the fucking point of putting it off, essentially? Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, if you're committing to this, we know it works. We know you can afford it. You know you're doing that. You know, and then you get to the point where you've set all that up and you've gone through a couple and you go, hey, man, like just between me and you, like, what's holding you back? And just be quiet, be silent, and just allow them to fulminate in that. And if they're just like, dude, I'm just fucking super scared to move ahead. And it's like, I get it, man. But, you know, what I tell my son is that, you know, being courageous is the only thing you can think and actually be the king. Because if you're terrified and you do it and you fake not being terrified, but you do it anyway, dude, that's being fucking courageous. So you can sit there and do nothing, or you can do something, but like, don't allow the illusion that standing still is actually not moving away. Time moves in one direction, dude. So you're either going towards or away, and you got to pick one, and either one is fine. So what do you want to do from here? You know what I mean? And like, once you've gone through those, like you've closed a lot of gates.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That's really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Mr. Franklin.
Yep. Yeah, I just had a question regarding really just like prioritizing appointment setting. So right now we're essentially spending like 2K a day on Facebook. And the applications are around like 80 to 90 bucks per application. I'm like much more experienced in the closing calls and appointment setting. I've never really done it before. So I can see how we can probably scale like another 50 to 100% purely through just what we're doing now. But I'm curious as to like, how much of a mistake is it to, I guess, overlook appointment setting, and like at what point should I really prioritize like mastering that so that we don't just have booked calls straight off Facebook?
Can you like give me a little bit of a like try that again, but a bit clearer synopsis? I was just following I was struggling to follow the logic train.
Yep. Pretty much, we're just not doing any. We're spending 2K a day on Facebook ads, but we're not doing any appointment setting.
Okay. So you're just getting the inbound.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the ROAS?
It's 2x on cash, but it's a recurring product. So initial purchase is around 1K. It costs 500 to get a sale, and then the LTV should be around like 6 to 7K.
I think the only problem that I see with that is that, you know, Meta has a shit. If you're targeting shits to bed, like you're going to a 2K like CAC pretty quick. Right? So, and you have no backup mechanism, you know? So, are you going like landing page VSL, then opt-in?
It's actually VSL on Facebook, and it goes straight to a type form.
Okay. And then are you retargeting the people who watch but don't?
Yeah, so we have retargeting ads on Facebook.
What's the watch time on that VSL? So it's a native video in Facebook that you're promoting and using that as a VSL?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd have to check the watch time, but the stats that I do know is it costs like $17 for someone to watch the full thing. So yeah. I
mean, yeah, what I would do is like I would just run parallel marketing that gets phone number, right? For now. Yeah. And then if you like, you could just take the people that watch, say, 2 minutes and above, you know what I mean? Or a minute and above, and then do retargeting. That would be a cheap retargeting audience. It'd be really easy to set up. And then retarget them with like a high quality lead magnet that is basically a synopsis of what they learn in the VSL, assuming it's some sort of educational VSL and it's not just like a straight buy my shit, right? Where like it could be, but yeah,
more like that. Yeah.
Okay, but there's got to be some sort of hook that's getting them in to watch it.
Yeah.
Right. What's the hook?
The hook is essentially we'll double your child's English grades in 3 months, or you don't pay.
Oh. Yeah. English grades.
Yeah, so it's basically school tutoring is the offer.
Okay. I would do some sort of checklist, right? Like the fucking, you know, after school, you know, homework checklist or some shit, right? My son's dyslexic, so like I feel the pain of like having to, you know, have those things. So like I think retargeting them with some sort of like high value downloadable that gets their phone number as a part of it. And then from there, you know that you're dealing with people. So you're sort of going to end up with really cheap leads from that because they already watched a percentage of the VSL, and you're going to end up with name, email, phone number from it. That gives you an alternative mechanism to where you can then get high value leads. And the outbound for that is easy because it's like, hey, I saw that you downloaded the 5 steps to, you know, getting your kids fucking like literacy homework up or whatever it is, right? Yeah. And it's like, you know, what is it kind of sparked your interest? I know that you would have also kind of watched some of our video. Like, how can I help? So it's quite an easy lead in, and it would be cheap. And I think if you diverted like 10% of ad spend towards it, and then you started that, at least then you could like crank that if it started working well. You know what I mean? And then, you know, potentially run like, you know, weekly info sessions where you do like a live info session, and then you can like send those outbound people to that live info session at like 8 o'clock at night or something like that, right after the kids are in bed, or like 9 o'clock even, whatever. And then from there, I used to do some work with like Autism 360. Do you know them?
No, I haven't actually.
They work specifically with parents and do coaching for like, they're in Australia, do coach for kids with autistic. So they might actually be a good JV for you. Yeah, I don't know if you can. You're probably in there, Tom. Are you friends with me on Facebook or something, or on Instagram? Just send me a DM on Instagram or something, and I'll connect you with those guys because they got a good operation, like very very similar demographic, but a different product because they're, you know, dealing with that. But they get a lot of like parents that aren't right for them. Anyway, so anyway. Yeah. Does it make sense though from like a strategy?
Yeah, no, that does make sense. I think it's good as well because like I haven't done a huge amount of outbound. I'm much more confident with like the, I guess, closing calls. So I can see how that's a good way to get into it without it. Yeah, just a bit easier.
It's also cheap, easy, like retargeting. It's not going to cost you a bunch. So. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with I think it was Ben, then Melvin. So Ben Katzenbach.
Yeah, new guy.
Powerful
I've
name.
been binge watching the trains. Yeah, that German name. So I was doing solar for 6 years. I just switched over to a new, it's like a high ticket social media growth offer.
Nice.
And I am only talking to like CEOs who are making like above 500K a month. And I'm really struggling. Like I was watching you and Marco's role play on YouTube, and you'd mentioned something about how like that situation question part it can be the trickiest, the most critical to kind of go into like a very succinct problem awareness. And in this offer on the script that we have, there's like 8 kind of like situation questions that we're supposedly supposed to ask every time. But I find that it's taking like 15 minutes plus just to get through that. And then to get to the problem awareness, it's already kind of like we've already had 4 like, okay, do you like that? Are you happy with that? How's that working? And so to ask that question again at that point feels kind of redundant. So I'm wondering, like, am I overcomplicating it? Is it literally as simple as like asking a few questions about like, okay, what do you have going on with social media marketing? And then
so
like,
it's social media. So it's like you're selling, like it's an agency selling social media marketing for business, like SMB type businesses.
It's like social media growth. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. It's a 6-month package, either 144K or 36K for the 6 months. And it's a 10 million view guarantee. And it's pretty much like lead gen and brand awareness are kind of results.
Is it SMBs though? Like
I don't even know what that means.
Like small to medium business, like you're talking to guys.
Oh,
like you're talking to the founders and the CEOs. Like
yeah.
You're talking to the face of the brand. They're not big, right? They're not like
that's a
B2C sale. So you can sort of like chuck out the B2B. Like it's B2B, but it's not, like B2B is generally going to be something where it's a more complicated sales environment. And by complicated, I don't mean difficult. By complicated, I mean like multiple decision makers and departments. Yeah. So if you're talking direct to the person, I just treat it like B2C, right?
Okay.
Generally speaking. What I would do is I would have a look at those situation questions. I would put them into ChatGPT and be like, hey, is there a way that I can like combine some of these questions together? And be like, can you make this 8 questions into 4 where I am still able to get the same answers, but like it makes sense? And then you want to, if you can get them more conversationally, it's better. Situation questions can end up feeling a bit like the Spanish Inquisition. So like, it's just a lot of, you could ask the little AI bot that you guys have access to, right? Wherever the fuck that is. I'm trying to organize that course. My God, YouTube makes it difficult. So I don't know if you guys can see, but now I've got playlists for most of them. And then I'm putting the end card of each video as the next video in the course. Right. And then it's got like each one, every single link should be in each description for like the next videos and stuff like that. I'm trying to organize it. It's very difficult because it's not like an LMS. So you just kind of got to make it up on the spot. But I'm trying to make that fucking membership area actually make sense. But I'm slowly but surely doing it. I reckon in the next like week, it should all be done. With all the modules in a specific playlist, level 1, module 1, level 1, module 2. And then it's just a playlist you go through and it should be nice and easy and actually make sense. And then I'm going to be doing a 8-week objection handling intensive where any member gets to be a part of it. And it's going to be like 3 times a week. And I'm going to have like guests, like Cole's going to do some training, which would be cool. Cole Gordon, Rhode's going to do some training. Yash is going to do some training. So it's going to be like 8 week, 3 times a week. Whether you pay $49 or $199, everyone's getting a part of it. My plan is to get 1,000 people into it.
Man, I just signed up, man. I just
Melt the world.
Thank you for putting this together because you made it accessible for sales guys like me who are not really quite good enough to put out $20,000 for sales training right now, and it's really big value, man. That's all I want to say.
No, easy. I appreciate it. Okay, but Ben, getting back to your question, so I would do that, summarize it. Also, have get the transcripts of the calls, and then like put that into whatever AI you like to use, and then be like,
Okay.
with the answers to these questions, can we see common threads where I can reduce that into 4 to 5? Because eight situation questions, it ends up being like it will feel like a very transactional call, and then it's going to be hard to get into, the sort of, the sort of problems and stuff like that. So that's what I would do.
Do I need to is it too broad to say, do you like the social media marketing you have in place, or do I need to go deep, or do I need to do more broad and say, do you like the marketing you have in place in general?
I don't even think you need to ask that, because they're on the call, right?
Yeah.
So do they like it?
They do not.
Well, then I think it's probably a safe assumption. So like what I would do, like we could role play it, and I could be like, hey Ben, looks like you booked in a call about, possibly getting some help with some social media strategies. How can I help?
Yeah, just saw your ad. Saw you guys had like a 10 million view guarantee, and thought it was interesting, so I booked one.
Okay, what is it about that you found kind of, sparked your interest?
Well, it just seems like an insane guarantee. Like I don't even know if I believe that you guys can do that, but if you can, then I mean, it'd be awesome. Okay,
so what are you doing at the moment to like get more views?
I got like a internal team that's doing some things, an intern, and I work on the content sometimes, and we're just, posting as consistently as we can.
Okay, so do you have but that's like what you do kind of day to day. What are you doing at the moment to kind of or what's the outcome that you're looking for at the moment? Do you want to grow any channel in particular? What's the kind of what's the goal?
Oh yeah, obviously we want to get more leads through our social media. We're just not getting any views. We're not getting anybody, opting into our XYZ thing, and then also we'd like to be kind of more of an authority in the space. So
okay, so
getting more views.
How long have you been trying to figure that out for?
I don't know. We just started looking into it. Really, I just saw the ad and I thought it was interesting, but I haven't really thought about it much before that.
Okay. Well, I mean, you got an internal content team, and you're not really getting many views. So how long has that problem kind of existed for?
Well, pretty much since we started posting. So I guess a year ago we started posting. So probably for about a year.
Okay. So if it's been going on for a year, what shifted recently to where you're like, man, I actually kind of want to fix this?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We've just seen kind of our conversion rates go down. Revenue's gone down a little bit, and so the leads we are getting through SEO and stuff, they're just really cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so ideal scenario, what do you want to see out of, I guess, your social media? What's the end goal?
I'd love to be getting, thousands of views per post, and have those views be bringing in warm leads that convert, and just get more clients that way.
Okay. And so besides kind of just your team and kind of doing posting, what are you guys actually doing to, I guess, kind of meaningfully problem solve, drive the ball forward, and fix that problem?
We're not really doing anything.
Why not, man?
Currently.
What's going on? You guys just I'm sure it'll fix itself out, right? There's been no lack of advertising of people, offering to help you. I'm sure you get DM 14 times a day from some dude saying they can blow your Instagram up.
Yeah. No, I just don't think we know what to do. I just think we just don't know how to do it, really. That's why we haven't done anything, because the things we have been trying just aren't working.
Okay, well, you want to change that?
We did, yeah.
Sure?
I do.
It seems like you kind of been letting it go, buddy. What's going on?
No. We want to change it for sure.
All right. So, break me down. What are the tangibles? What's the main platform that you use right now?
Instagram mainly. We also have a Facebook and a YouTube, but we don't really touch the YouTube too much.
Okay, so it's your goal. Your goal is obviously sales, right? And then we're going to track that back to leads, views, yada yada yada. So how many sales are you, kind of making right now on a monthly basis?
Oh, I don't know. We'll probably do 100.
100 sales, 100 units?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And what's your guys' close rate from your current kind of, efforts?
I don't know. We probably close 3 or 4 out of 10, percent.
Okay, not bad. And what's your guys' program worth?
It's probably, it ranges. We have a low end 1,000, high end 10,000.
What's your average front end kind of cash collected?
We do a lot more of the low end stuff, so maybe like 2 or 3K.
Okay, 2 or 3K. Okay, so you guys are at like say 200, 250 a month new cash?
So that's
Okay.
about right.
Okay, cool. And I guess like, before you started talking to me, like what real tangible ways have you been doing to actually kind of increase the views so you can get, I guess more of those higher paying customers and, stop kind of spinning your wheels on the views?
Oh, we run paid ads, but they haven't done super well. And then the organic stuff, we just have that internal team that's kind of been spinning their wheels and hasn't really gotten any results.
Okay, cool. Pause. So like that's a good amount of info.
Yeah, 100%.
So like it's always about going like to like you want to in the beginning you want to figure out like what do you want. Now, how can I help is a very difficult way to start a sales call. I don't recommend it, but it's what I do. Right? But it's sort of like when you do it well, it's the best way, but it's not the best way for most people. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like an F1 car is the best car, but I wouldn't recommend driving it to the fucking shops. Right? It's kind of, so, because it's really ambiguous, but I had to do that because I don't know the offer. So I had to make it up. So, but what you want to do is you want to get like the whole point of like connecting questions is just to get the outcome. That's it. And what I don't want to do is get into the minutia of like their current strategies because they don't work. So I don't care. And if it's not going to change the prescription, then it's not really super relevant information. Right? So like with all those situation questions that you're asking right now, I'm not telling you to not ask them because like at the end of the day, you're a sales rep that works for a business, but you can just optimize what you're doing. So you're not just going to be like, but Matt said, be like, fuck do I know, right? Like I'm just like, I don't know the offer that well, so I can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but you can optimize it, but what you're looking for is like overall outcome. Okay. Then from there, you're going to move into like, what are you doing about that in particular? Okay. And then it's like, the problems are like, your situation is like, what are you doing about that? The issue is if you have too many situation questions, you go into rabbit holes that are very difficult to get out of, and you end up having quite technical conversations that sort of mean nothing and don't actually change the prescription. And so all it does is like make the problems more cloudy. And if the problem set becomes too big, then you end up sort of making too large of a problem, which then makes the solution much more of a, like they have to think about it a lot more. And so you induce objections, right? So it's about the right amount of problem, the right amount of solution, otherwise they're too far down that buyer's pocket to where like it's, well, man, you've given me so much to think about and they think they're going to have to overhaul their entire fucking business, right? Which you don't want. So, and then it's like the situation, what are you doing about it? Problems, is it working? What's not working? Like, how is it not working? And then it's like rationale question, which I kind of skipped, but rationale, you're trying to get rid of the DIYs. It's like, hey, just so I can see the rationale behind why you're looking for, I guess, someone to come in and help you out, actually create a system and a structure around your content so that you can get more leads. What's the main reason for wanting to do it that way rather than just, you could boost posts, you could just, you could just post more, right? More posts, more views. It's like, well, I already fucking post a ton. It's like, all right, well, how many posts are you doing at the moment? And then what are you getting from that? And then like you can create kind of a stacked series of like logistical questions that create their current state. I like to do it out of order right? Because then they can't follow the logic, so they don't lie or like, tell you about their bullshit fucking numbers like that they did once. I make about 20 sales a month. How much you make this month? Oh, like 12. Month before that, 12. So you make 12 sales a month. But we did that 20 that one time. Well, let's not work off that. Right. And then from there, you're going into like your ideal criteria, So it's like, hey, if, you're able to do that. And then from there, you're going into your solution, which is like, okay, now that we have a problem, a criteria, we know that you need some help doing it. Like, what is that tangible? What does it give you in terms of authority, in terms of revenue, in terms of like emotional kind of like tie down? Then we go into consequence, which doesn't have to be huge. You can just be like, okay, and like, what do you think of the potential ramifications? If you're dealing with like more sophisticated buyers, I don't like to say consequence. I'll say like potential outcomes or ramifications, right? And then from there, you just tie them down with like, you sure? You want to do it now? Right? And then you sell them. Does that make sense?
When you said out of order, like what is out of order exactly with those types of questions?
Okay, so let's just say I'm asking you and you're a sales rep, and I go, I'm gonna, like, if I ask you, like, okay, how many calls are booked? What's your show rate? What's your close rate? What's your AOV? Right, and then like, you know what I mean? Then like, and like, what's your commissions? You can follow that logic train, and then they will all equal to each other. But if I go like, what's your AOV? What's your show rate? Like, how many leads do you get? How many calls are booked? Okay. And then I'm like, so what's your close rate? Okay. So you sold this many units? Yeah. And you made this. And then, and I ask in there somewhere, like, what percentage of commission do you get? So then I can ask all those questions out of order. So it's very difficult to follow the logic. And so you're going to get the truth instead of like what makes sense in that step.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. That helps a lot. Is this recorded? Can I watch this back later?
Yeah. I'm streaming it right now.
Okay, dope. Okay, good. I'm gonna have to study that.
I have to go in like 3 minutes. So Melvin's question was the guy.
Yep.
Yeah. What's up, bro?
Hey, man. So last week, I was at almost roughly 18,000 in sales and in commissions, and I averaged about 7 presentations from Monday through Wednesday last week, and then Thursday, as I generate my leads from Facebook. I didn't get no leads Thursday or Friday, and my goal for the week was 20,000. So, and with Dial.io, I was getting all those pickers and stuff. So, long story short, should I increase my ad spend or get another lead vendor or lead source to prevent that problem so I can continuously hit my weekly sales goal?
I mean, I think like you also want to have some mechanisms that aren't just pure paid ads, like referrals, pipeline. You got your follow-ups. You've got like what do you sell?
Life insurance.
Okay. Are you in Sniper Insurance? I don't know everyone, so.
No. FFL.
Okay, cool. So like, you got warm market, you got referrals, you got pipeline, and then you've got leads, right? So you just want to make sure like you have like if you have your pie chart, just don't be 100% new paid ads.
No leads, right?
Right. So like trying to create a little bit of an ecosystem, because like at some stage, definitely have a backup vendor. That's a good idea. Right.
Yeah.
And then, but like have like some of that pie chart dedicated to like referrals, warm market, pipeline. You know what I mean? Because like at some stage, something will fuck up.
But what happens when I'm using Dial.io, right? And then the new leads are there. And let's say I want to tackle a follow-up. Let's say that was not a lead in Dial.io, let's say from last year. I dial them from there, and like I manually put it in the.
So you can't actually do that. You actually have to make them as a contact and then do it that way.
Right. So that's what I do.
Don't just put the number in there.
No, put it. Okay.
Make the contact first. Please do me that favor.
All right.
It will not attach to your campaigns otherwise, and it won't dial them from your number.
Okay.
Right. So you add the contact and then do it that way. Right. But like
I'll fix that.
That's not the best way to do it. But with like your you can upload a CSV file, for example. Right, with those leads, like you might go back and upload 500 or 600 leads from your CSV file, and then upload them in there, and then you can go in there and you can just manually dial them because they'll all be in the system, and then it will track everything properly. Otherwise, like it's not going to put in any of the restraints, and it's not going to do it properly. It's not going to use the right numbers. It'll use a number that's probably flagged. That makes sense? Okay. Yeah. But like, just, have some level of backup outside of paid ads, right? You know what I mean? And then like have maybe your 80% paid ads, 20% between, warm market, stuff like that. Okay.
Okay. And then one more question around that. I'm getting this common objection of, I get like an old veteran and he'll be like, I'm shopping around and I put it in the coach mat, ChatGPT, and I'm getting this. I can't overcome this constant objection. I'm getting this guy or phenomenon every day, at least once a day. Like, oh, I thought you. No, it's not like that. I'm shopping around and I'm looking at all the carriers, and I'm sure you're a broker and you can look at all these carriers. But I want to do my own research and my own thing. How do you, I guess, approach that? Or
I would ask them like, what do they do for work, or what do they used to do for work, right? And then like put it in their context. Like, oh, I was a sniper. Be like, yeah, man. So like, if I'm buying a rifle off you, obviously I want to go and do my own research, right? Because I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And be like, if I came to you and your expertise and was like, I see your expertise and I raise you 15 minutes of Googling, who do you think is going to have a better answer?
Yeah, you will. Yeah.
Why is that? You know what I mean? And then, yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're gonna do that, right? So just put it in context. Use logic. Don't forget that you're a human. Like use logic and go, brother. Like it's like I was in Vietnam. Yeah, no, I went to Vietnam too. It's a beautiful place. Was it the same for you, buddy? You know what I mean? Right? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, hey, we can we can look at things and have different experiences, and one of us knows what the fuck we're talking about, and one of us definitely doesn't. Right? So be a little bit self-deprecating and then like turn it back onto them, but don't be afraid to be a person. You know, don't be the fucking sales robot.
Right.
You know, just be like, hey man, if I came to you and said that, like, what would you say? You'd be like, I'd call you a fucking idiot. Yeah, well, like, you know, unfortunately, I'm not allowed to call you a fucking idiot. And they're gonna laugh because they're an ex-veteran, and that's funny. Right?
All
right, team. I gotta run.
Thank you, man.
Catch you guys. Bye. Bye, people.